Joining us now, Republican Congressman Pat Harrigan of North Carolina and member of the House Armed Services Committee. Great to see you today. Thank you so much for taking the time, and Happy New Year.
Hey, great to see you too, Anna. Happy New Year to you.
All right, and welcome back. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at the timeline here of the operation, if our control room can put that up. So at 12:46 a.m., Trump gives orders to move forward with the mission. Then between 1:50 and 2 o'clock in the morning, the first explosions are heard in Caracas. At 2:01, the U.S. captures Maduro and his wife. All pretty quick here. How did you hear about the attack, and when did you hear about the attack?
Well, I heard about it early this morning. My wife actually woke up a little bit early and kind of told me about it. I just first off want to say this was an incredible military operation. My hat's off to our military. I think folks don't really understand. President Trump talked about 150 different aircraft involved, every single facet of our military, from the Army to the Navy to the Air Force, Space Command, Cyber Command. I mean, this was truly an unprecedented military operation, and they executed it absolutely flawlessly. So we have some incredible capabilities in this country because we have some incredible military members, and I just want to say job well done today with what y'all had to do.
Wow. Well, it's pretty incredible to watch. It's amazing to see this video this video from Caracas, Venezuela, overnight as Maduro is captured now on the U.S. amphibious assault ship, the USS Iwo Jima, on the way to New York to face U.S. charges here. If we can take a look at some of the U.S. pressure on Venezuela by the numbers, because this is really not a surprise, is it, Congressman? I mean, you know, we woke up and it just was sort of like, okay, well, today is the day. You know, we've seen the military build up there, the 12+ warships in the Caribbean. We've had the 35 strikes on alleged drug boats, 15,000 troops that have been amassed, and now this one land strike here. But I think some Americans are thinking this afternoon, how is this going to be impacting our military members? If we are running Venezuela, what does that look like?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And I think that press conference earlier today gave a lot of people a lot of pause, right? I think we've all gotten very fairly comfortable with, hey, look, Maduro's been under indictment for a long time. He ran a narco-terrorist dictatorship that fundamentally collapsed Venezuela, which caused a lot of problems for America. Number one, they were trafficking drugs that killed Americans, but they also invited hostile powers into our hemisphere, notwithstanding the fact that they also caused mass illegal migration, along with that foreign power influence. And so I think there's no question that from a judicial perspective and bringing Maduro to justice here, I think almost all Americans can get behind that. I think it's very unclear at this point what the plan is moving forward. We certainly do not want to have, that traditional regime change discussion that we've just watched fail over and over and over again over the last 20 years. But I've got enough confidence and trust in President Trump that they've got a plan for this. And I think that they alluded to it earlier, right? Secretary of State Marco Rubio, I think, was very clear, said, look, we gave Maduro a lot of off-ramps. They know what they want to happen after this point, regardless of whether he gave himself up or whether he had to be apprehended like he did last night. I think that they've got the plan for what that is moving forward. They are definitely being tight-lipped about it, no question about it.
Congressman, we've got, we're wondering if there are some cracks there in the Republican Party. You've got Congressman Thomas Massie. If we can pull up an X post that he wrote, he's saying, if this was really something that the administration wasn't worried about the constitutionality of, why would they be pointing to a 1934 arms law? So you've got that. They've had their ups and downs, obviously, Massie and Trump, and then Marjorie Taylor Greene and their breakup that they've had recently. But she said something similar. She said, you know what, if this was really about drugs, then why aren't we going at the Mexican cartels? Why aren't we trying to attack them? So anyway, there's a bit of back and forth here, and we know there's this constant debate here, especially recently, about the interventionism as opposed to isolationism. And I'm just wondering what your thoughts are. Is your party fracturing a little bit over this, and what will we see this week?
I think Americans in general just want honesty and clarity from their leadership. I think that President Trump mentioned it in his press conference today, right, that there are members of Congress that they just cannot trust. And I understand that, right? We have folks that are Somalia first and not America first. They're not going to be cooperative on things like this. And frankly, there's a number of members of Congress who have and would leak sensitive and classified information that would compromise something like this. And we've got to understand there's a lot of titles and authorities under which these type of operations happen. I think certainly we went after Maduro from a judicial perspective, actually bringing him to justice for the narco-terrorism and the drug trafficking that has killed Americans. But there is also an element of intelligence and national security here that falls under Title 50, which gives the president broad authority. It's kind of Title 50 is really a kind of a bridge between the legislative branch and the executive branch. And there's a lot of gray area in there. And so, like I said, I think everybody's really confident with what happened with Maduro in terms of bringing him to justice, not assassinating him, bringing him to New York to stand trial. I think that they've got a little bit of cleanup to do after the press conference today with the messaging moving forward and the mission moving forward.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.